Hello everybody, welcome to Essential Style. In this video we're going to be discussing the Apple Watch. I've been wearing one for about 2 weeks now, and we're going to talk about my experience with it, what I like, what I don't like, and just my overall thoughts. So this is the Apple Watch Series 6 Cellular version. Got this thing about 2 weeks ago, and overall I've really been enjoying it. As you can see, these are the two other watches that I wear most of the time. This one I used to wear a long time ago back in the day. That was my daily watch for a while. Lately it's been the Seiko SKX, and then when I got tired of that, I would just end up wearing the Blue Weekender chronograph, which I really enjoy. So why did I buy the Apple Watch in the first place? So this is a great watch, and it was on my wrist for a really long time. It's been my daily driver for probably about 2 years now. But it was giving me two main issues. Number one, it wasn't always the most comfortable watch in the world. And number two, it was not reliable for telling the time. You guys can probably see it's automatic. I haven't worn it in a few days and it's not ticking. You start going like that, now it's ticking. So if I go ahead and I put this on, I'll show you guys what I mean about the discomfort. Okay, so doing right there, that kind of, even though they have this part, they have it down at the 4 o'clock. A lot of times it's over here. Like you can see on this watch, the crown is right there. This one, I mean, they did design it so that it is a little bit more comfortable. However, still, just because it's metal and it's the bracelet, it's either a bit loose and a bit tight, and it would just fall like that. And when you move your arm, when you move your hand rather, it just kind of digs in right there. The second thing is, it's an automatic watch, which means that there's a bunch of springs and mechanisms flinging around in the back. I've mentioned before, it's lost 5 minutes a week on me before. Not a big deal, but what I typically would do to get around that small issue is I would set it 5 minutes fast. If the real time is 3:57, I would set this probably at 4:03. I would always set it 5 minutes ahead, and then I would recheck back in a week. So if I was trying to get a train at 6:52 a.m. to get into work, which is the train I used to catch, a 6:52 train, I would not rely on this watch. I would end up just constantly pulling out my phone all the time. Because 6:52, if this watch said 6:52, it was anywhere from 6:47 to 6:52. I wasn't sure. I knew I had a 5-minute window, but it wasn't exact. Whereas something like this that connects to the internet all the time, it's always exact. I know that's always the exact right time, no matter what. I typically like to keep it on here, but if I really want to be telling the time perfectly, I could just swipe to that screen right there. I could get the same thing with this watch, but then this watch, the battery's going to die. It's just kind of nice to know that the time's always going to be perfect on this. And the comfort on this watch is just so much nicer than this watch. I haven't worn it. It's still winter time here. We're at the tail end of winter. So I've got this blue silicone strap right here. I've heard that it's not that comfortable in the summertime when you're sweating. But overall, it's been really nice so far, to the point where I forget I'm even wearing it, which is just amazing. It feels more just like a slim bracelet that you're wearing. That's it. Comfort and accuracy of telling time, main reasons, and I'm really satisfied with that. Alright, so I also want to talk about price, because this is the Apple Watch Series 6 Cellular model. So this one cost $529 before tax. This was not a cheap watch at all. However, I bought this one a couple of years ago at about $230, and I was actually starting to look at for a long time I was looking at the Seiko SKX. Just been looking at that watch for a really long time. Even though now it's discontinued, you can't buy it anymore. But then I also was doing some research, and I was looking into the Seiko SKX line, SARX. Beautiful watch, but again, the price of that watch is $800. $800 for a watch that's a mechanical watch like this one, and it tells you the time and it'll tell you the date, but that's all it can really do. Again, don't get me wrong, watches are awesome. I really do consider myself a watch guy, but to spend $800 on a dress watch when I know that I can just wear a diver's watch or a sporty watch like this most of the time, I don't think, at least not right now, I didn't think it was a good investment. Whereas, so if you compare this to the Timex Weekender, yeah, of course, this looks like it's way too expensive. But you start comparing this to some of those way higher end watches, or even some of the lower you know, the higher low end watches or whatever you want to call it, like Seiko SKX, which is, let's just call it $1,000 watch, this one starts to look a lot more compelling because this one will tell you the time, it'll tell you the date. You always know it's perfectly accurate. It'll tell you the weather. It'll tell you your heartbeat. I've got it over here. You can tell you your heartbeat. It'll tell you how far you've walked. It'll tell you, you know, if you say you want to exercise for 45 minutes like I have it set. It'll say, hey, you climbed 6 flights today. You can even go in here, you can answer some text messages. You could answer, you know, you can control your Pandora. You can turn the volume up and down on your phone. You can do a quick search of something. So Strava, I mean, it's not practical to do a lot of this stuff on such a small screen when a lot of times most people have a ginormous screen phone compared to what the watch is. But I knew that, you know, this one being $500, okay, so let's just call it what it is. This one is twice the price as the mechanical watch that I've got, but it can do a lot more. It's almost like a computer in a watch form, and of course, it's really just what it is. All right, so some of the things I really like about this watch, a lot of times I thought they were gimmicky, but I really like that it reminds me to, I've been using the Breathe app, which is kind of almost like getting started in meditation. It really has helped me relax a lot. I've been dealing with a lot of stress lately, just nothing crazy. First world problems, you know, sitting in traffic, not being able to get coffee, nothing that I should really be stressing about. But ever since I've been doing, see, like I did 5 minutes of meditation today so far. So that's really cool. That really helped me relax a lot. It is kind of nice to see my heart rate too. Resting rate today is 59 beats per minute. So I'm trying to keep that low. So it's just something, it's nice to put numbers to health, fitness and stuff like that. And I'm a pretty big health and fitness nut anyway. So one thing I noticed when I started wearing a watch pretty much full time, like I said, I went from this one, and then this one was my daily driver for a long time, and this one I just wear when I get tired of this one, is instead of constantly pulling out your phone when you want to know the time or date, you could just flick the wrist. So it's two things you don't need to pull your phone out of your pocket. And that, I think that's really what a function of a watch is. It's to tell you the time and tell you the date. All of my watches always have a date window right there, but that's two things. So if you're going into a client's account and you're signing in to the visitor's log, you can just look here and say, okay, whatever time it is, let's say it's 3 o'clock, 23rd of February, then you know that's what you're gonna write down. You don't have to reach into your pocket for your phone for those two things. What the Apple Watch or any smartwatch does is that just capitalizes on it. You can answer a text message from your wrist. You can send a quick text message. You can see who's calling you. You can just set reminders on your wrist. And again, it just basically takes what this can do and it just gives you a lot more functions. Again, look at this calculator. You want to do a quick calculation? No, not a problem. You don't have to pull out your phone for that. All these little things, they're not that big of a deal, like when it happens once or twice, but throughout the day, it really starts to compound, and I can really feel how much more convenient the Apple Watch has just allowed my life to be. Is it really necessary? No, absolutely it's not. I don't even think wearing a watch is necessary, but I'm a watch guy. I'm used to wearing a watch. It's just something for me. Yeah, I'm definitely happy that I have it. One other thing that I have noticed is that this is the new iPhone 12 Pro, and the battery life on it has been really, really good. But the battery life has gotten even better since I've had this watch on my wrist. And that's because I'm pulling my phone out maybe on average 20 or 30 times less throughout the day, whereas at the end of the workday, instead of having 70% on my phone, I have closer to 80%. So that's pretty cool. And I wasn't really expecting that. If anything, I was expecting the opposite to happen because I have them linked together right now. I did not have the cellular set up on here. I don't think it's necessary all the time, but I was expecting that because this was always wirelessly connected to the watch, the battery would drain. But the battery, it's just been gotten even better, and overall, yeah, really much more convenient, guys. So another thing that I really like is the different watch faces that they give you. This is the GMT watch face. It looks very similar to the Seiko, pretty cool. I was using this one at first just because it gives you the heart rate. It tells me that my meditation breathe is right there. The weather is right there. You can just open it up right there and you can see what the weather is for the whole week. That's pretty cool, but with this being a square watch face and with it just being a circle, As nice as this is, I don't think it looks the greatest because you have this square body, but you have the circle watch face. So I end up using the California watch face, they call it. This is the one that I really enjoy. I think it really does, it makes the watch look really great. It also allows you to set up the faces to where that if you were ever in a situation where you needed to know exactly what time it was, and sometimes I'll look at this right now and it'll say it's 4:15. But sometimes this hour hand, I'm not the greatest at telling time on these. I've made mistakes before. Simple swipe, I could swipe over and there we go. Now I know it's Saturday the 27th, 4:14. So if I'm running to catch a train or I have a doctor's appointment or anything like that where I need to know the time or catching a flight, yeah, I mean, just a simple swipe, there you go, there's your digital clock. Also, if you are dressing up, there you go, there's your dress watch. I think this looks really nice as a dress watch. This just gives you the ability to change the watch face to really, just match with what you're wearing and what you're doing that day. If you're going in for a job interview, throw this thing on a leather band, put on this watch face, and boom, you got a dress watch. You want to go and, if you have a lot of orders you're doing, if you're, working for DoorDash or Uber Eats, or if you got a couple of appointments and you can't be late, boom, there you go. It shows you the time. If you just want to have a nice casual watch that's kind of like going to match with everything, there you go. But if you want something that is a bit easier to tell the time, and it's also going to give you a shortcut to your heartbeat, to your Breathe app, to the weather, and to your fitness rings, how much you moved, how much you've exercised, and how much you've stood up all day, then there you go. So the possibilities are endless with this watch, and it just makes it a very versatile piece. And I think that it's just invaluable when it comes to just how much you can get out of this watch, even with just telling the time. Like I said, I usually keep it on this one. This is more like the infograph type one where, I guess if I was catching a train, I'd just probably swipe to that one. Job interview, there we go. This one's kind of quirky. It's just called Artist. You can just tap it and it constantly changes. And then when it changes from 4:15 to 4:16, there's an animation that goes through. It looks like, oh, see, there you go. It looks like the person blinked. That's pretty quirky, but I thought it was pretty cool. And here's one that I was using at first just because the numbers, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, makes it a bit easier to tell the time. But Siri thinks that I keep wanting to talk to her. But instead of using this one, I pretty much have it set up so that I like to use this one with the Roman numerals on top and the 4, 5, 7, 8 right there. And then I got my infograph, and then same thing. Dress watch, business meeting, corporate America, boom, there you go, leather strap. Catching a train, appointment, gotta be home at a certain hour, pick up your kids, meet up with your friends, 7 p.m. sharp, boom, there you go. Walking to the bar, casual watch, you're going out for a hike, cycling, whatever, sport watch. So this watch just has a lot of useful features. All right, so why did I buy the cellular model if I don't have it turned on? Well, it was in my budget, and I think if you're gonna get the Apple Watch, I think you might as well save up the extra $100 and get the cellular model, because it allows you to use the watch as a standalone watch. If it's not a cellular model and it's just Wi-Fi only, it really is just an extension of the phone. And by the way, that's how I've been using it, but I like having that redundancy where if something happens to my phone or, I just want to leave my phone turned off, charging, whatever, I can still have this redundancy. So once we start traveling again and once the world opens up, then yeah, I'd probably turn on the cellular on this one. I think it's only going to be like an extra $10 a month. Maybe not something I'd want to pay for all the time, but it's nice to have that option. So it's not all great with this. There are a couple of things that I don't like about this watch. And the number one thing that I don't like, and I kind of knew this, is that you have to charge the battery every single night. This is the charger that it comes with. It hasn't really been that big of a deal, but I just don't like that. It kind of turned me off a little bit that I had to charge it every single night. I think I made the watch last about 24 hours at one point, exactly 24 hours. I unplugged it at 6 in the morning, and then I ran it all the way till 6 o'clock the next morning, and I was at like 20%, so pretty good. I like to keep all my devices charged up pretty much all the time. I don't like running them below 50% constantly, and I've been doing that with this watch just because by the end of the workday, if you wake up at 6 a.m. and then it's 9 o'clock at night, 14, 15 hours later, then yeah, you're gonna have a little bit less battery on this one right now. Also, if you are traveling, then it's just another thing that you have to go ahead and remember to bring. I don't think it should be as big of a deal as some people make it, but again, it's just something else to give you the possibility. You forget this thing, and if you bring your Apple Watch, it's going to last you a day and a half, and then it's going to be useless if you're going for a long weekend away or a week away. It's pretty much just going to be a nice little bracelet that's not going to turn on anymore. Of course, with having to charge the battery constantly, you do get the functionality and the perfect time all the time. You know the time is super accurate, the most accurate watch you can wear. Another thing too is that I actually put a screen protector on this watch, but I did put a scratch right there. You guys can probably see right the light's hitting it right there. I did put a scratch on it just because I mentioned in the video in this watch, when I have this watch on, I don't take it off whatever I'm doing. Pretty robust, and I think it's because it has that crown kind of protecting the crystal right there. And basically there's minimal scratches on this thing. And I've done some pretty intensive labor with this. And the only time I take it off is because it gets uncomfortable, it gets caught on things. But really, this watch, robust, it's super durable, tough as nails, not an issue with this watch. This one, I got that scratch, I accidentally rubbed my watch against the floor. I was on the floor one day at work, and I got a scratch down here and a scratch up there. So I said, oh, come on. And it's just kind of a reminder that this is not an indestructible watch like a diver's watch. And it's also not a cheap watch, whereas if you break one of these, you just get another one for 60 bucks. So that was a con for me. I just had to kind of remember that this thing, again, it's a glass screen, similar to the iPhone. You wouldn't want to go dropping your iPhone without a case. So I did put a screen protector on it. I wasn't going to at first, but I said, oh, you know what? I guess I had to do it just to prevent some scratches. And the third con would be, I'm not really sure how to put this watch into my rotation. I'm more of like a one watch type of guy where I have my one main watch that I wear all the time. And the other ones just turn into spare watches, like the 2 Timexes that I have and the Seikos. Before I got the Apple Watch, it was really, Seiko was my main one, and these 2 just kind of sat in the drawer as spares. Now I'm gonna have 3 spares, and I'm gonna have this is gonna be my main watch. And I do really enjoy the Seiko a lot, and there's some beautiful dress watches out there. I do consider myself a watch guy. So that kind of is another con that I found, is this is gonna take up a lot of my wrist time to the point where this is just gonna sit there and collect dust. And I'm sure as time goes on, the novelty will wear off with the Apple Watch, and I'll probably end up starting to wear my mechanical watches again, just because I still enjoy the way they look. As cool as this looks and as versatile as this is, you can't beat a mechanical watch like this. Even if you change it to the GMT screen, there's no comparison. A mechanical watch, a traditional watch, is always going to look better than a smartwatch in my opinion. Again, they're different tools. Maybe I'll just figure out a way to wear this on the weekends, wear this on night out, when I don't necessarily need the smartwatch constantly. But that's something that I struggled with, that this is going to become the only watch that I wear all the time, and my other mechanical watch is just going to sit there and collect dust. So guys, that's been my experience with wearing the Apple Watch for 2 weeks now. Overall, it's been a pretty good one. I really just enjoyed wearing it on my wrist, as far as the comfort, the accuracy of the time, and just the amount of information it can give me as far as health, wellness, and stuff like that. And I have to admit that at first I thought that the fitness tracking and the heart rate, I thought that it was going to be I thought it was kind of gimmicky, to tell you the truth. But overall, it's nice to just have numbers on there. Again, I can't tell you, it's like diet soda, right? You never see a skinny fit person drinking diet soda. They're not even drinking soda, they're drinking water. So these Fitbit type things and these fitness trackers, I always thought they were kind of gimmicky, so I was a bit surprised that I do enjoy seeing my heart rate, I do enjoy seeing how much I've moved, how many stairs I've climbed. This thing has got me to just climb stairs just up and down constantly in my house before, just to try to get to climbing 15 stairs, just because I feel like it's very good for me to do that. So I do feel a bit healthier because I'm wearing it. I'm surprised that I enjoy wearing it, but I'm also not surprised either, if that makes any sense, because I knew that it would just be able to do so much more than a traditional mechanical watch. But I also knew that, is it kind of gimmicky, and who knows, maybe another year or two I'll just stop wearing it and say, I don't really need it anymore. But as of right now, I'm pretty psyched in it, I'm pretty happy. I'm okay with making the compromises of having to charge this thing just about every night and just letting my Seiko just sit there and collect dust. For now, this thing works out. Also, I forgot to mention, it's really cool, really easy to change the bands. Throw on a blue leather strap or a tan leather strap. Really versatile watch. I mean, I like it. I'm a fan. That's the Apple Watch Series 6. So as always, I appreciate you guys stopping by. Thanks so much for watching. Hope everyone has a great day, and I hope you learned something. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Have a good one, guys.